trying to simplify it as much as I can. The three things that I found are super important to me to make sure that I know whether this works is always talk about values first. So really, what is it that you want to stand for in life? What is motivating you? Where do you want to go? Why do you want to do that? So really figure out, do we have a common value base that, or something at least that we can work with together? We don't have to be the same person, but we should have certain alignment across our deepest wishes and desires. And then the second thing is, I don't talk to people about roles that much anymore, because roles change all the time. So what I talk to them about is, what do we want to achieve in the first year? What are your goals? Like, what should you be, if you join me or our team or whatever, what is it that you bring that in a year from now we can say, wow, this was successful, really valuable. And then year two, it will be something different, maybe, who knows? But that really helps to not talk about, are you going to be responsible for this process? Or are you going to, I don't know, write 5 tasks a day or whatever, but really on a broader scale, what's the output that has to come out of it? And only then I start talking to them a bit about, what are the skills that you already have? Where do you think you're strong, and these sort of things? But that can anyway change. So for me, it's really values, attitude, then goals that you can achieve together. And then if those two match, then the skill set is not a make or break anymore, but it's more like just fine tuning it together. But yeah, I'm sure there are a ton of other ways that you can look at that, but that really helps me as a framework.
Each of you choose for the first employee?
For us, I think it was the right call back then. I mean, I mentioned our first hire was engineering. We found a great person, like with Pascal, who we also knew from our studies, which might be a common theme for also kind of a company who's like first time founder kind of ish. We were like starting with friends they all studied with, but I mean, what helped really, we knew on a personal level we're clicking. So culturally, it's a great fit, and he had the technical skills. And so at the beginning, that's I think so. Anyway, so important, right? If you're a small team and you give over so big responsibilities, and you might not click with someone, and culturally wouldn't work, that can really kind of get you off the rails. Or yeah, it's just a very difficult discussion then to have. Or ideally you can let them go early, but yeah, I mean, with the first hires, being careful, I think that really pays off. The most important one, the co-founder, I mean, that one, it's really hard then to kind of take kind of go apart again. But yeah, with the first ones, that helped for us, at least be on a cultural basis, on a personal basis. We knew we trust those people blindly, and it's a fit. Sometimes what for us a bit of trade-off was then experience, of course. Like they often also were more like our age, didn't have that much experience, and so that what we then corrected a bit in like at a second phase of hiring, like when we went like from like around 10 to like 20 people, was hiring much more for seniority to complement that. But I think in the beginning for us that paid off, especially for engineering hires. It worked out, and so maybe a bit earlier we could have went for seniority, especially on the sales side. But it's also sometimes hard as a startup, because the very senior people don't want to work for you, and you don't have the money to pay them. So it's hard to get them. But if you get them, that's super valuable.
I guess in a summary, it's, if you're just a very small company, you have to almost have the perfect match. There isn't much, you don't have much space to leverage, or you don't have any, don't have much, I'd say you need the skills, but you also need the fit, because otherwise it's, and I think it's also relevant. I mean, there's nothing, all the investors we talk to, whenever you ask them, they always say, in the end, it's the team that will make or break a company. So in the beginning, you need both. Yeah, Judith, how did you approach it? And also, have you changed that maybe as you grew bigger? Yeah, you say the experience, obviously you can pay now for experience better than in the beginning. How has that changed for you? And do you still say, hey, we don't compromise on the cultural fit, or how do you approach it at Planted?
Yeah, I would say it never pays off to compromise on the cultural side. Of course, sometimes you think that you you try because the skills are super interesting, but in the end, I would say it never paid off. And I do believe in the beginning, fit is even more important. But I think those people who left our company the earliest, so let's say after a year or so, were those people who fitted culturally, but who didn't have skills to then go further in depth. Because at the beginning, you basically just do everything, right? You have a person who does like basically over the whole value chain of products, just does whatever has to be covered. But when you grow and want to become excellent in what you do, you have to basically have people focus on specific areas. And if you then don't have any specific skills in which you can further deepen your know-how, then it's very difficult to stay in the company. Like having specific skills became more important once we had bigger teams and wanted to become excellent in certain areas. And I would say maybe that's one of my learnings when it comes to like when you grow, you eventually have to build up processes, build up systems like ERP systems, etc. And I think for such things, hiring somebody who has built something similar before can be a huge asset. So somebody who has built up a process or a system in a different company before can be really beneficial for the company. For me, it's not so much about having the experience in a big corporate to sustain something, but it's really about having the experience in or the skill to build something up. It's completely different to build things from scratch. I think another important point, and maybe that goes in the direction of what Greg said before, on the sales side, I think sometimes like the experience versus skills, I think is very diverse from area to area. So on the technical side, I believe skills might be more crucial than experience because creativity can cover quite a lot, and also the ability to take risks can be quite important. On the sales side, I believe network is super important, and also like soft skills. So if you want to sell something and you already bring a network to the company, and that network actually trusts you and likes you, is a huge asset. So it very much depends on the field.